Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to give you 21 of my most used beauty tips that I can think of to give to you that are kind of almost common sense that you might not think to do, or they might not be common sense and I might be teaching you a trick or two. So if you guys want to hear 21 of my favorite beauty tips and tricks, then please keep on watching. My notes right over here actually, and girl, it's pages long, so I'm excited. We're gonna go ahead and just read off the list, but I'm gonna explain to you why I do things and why I do things a certain way. Let's go ahead and start off with tip number 1. These are not in order by how good of a tip it is or not. Sorry, my window is open. You might see different lighting here and there. Tip number 1 that I wanted to talk about is smile lines. Nothing's wrong with smile lines. It means you're happy. I know that. I got that comment on TikTok. But when your makeup settles in the fine lines, that's when it kind of annoys me, and I don't like it personally for myself. So if it annoys you and your makeup settles into those fine lines and wrinkles, you're going to need an eye cream. Yes, an eye cream. Any eye cream that you own will do. I use the Monet one. It's an eye smoothing eye cream, so it's going to smooth out those lines too, even though it's not under your eye. So I'm going to take my eye cream, I focus it in this area, right? Okay. Then I put my moisturizer on, I focus it in this, I put it all over, I still focus it in this area. Then the key is, I don't have it in front of me right now, but I take my Tatcha Silk Canvas. It could be any pore filling primer, I just prefer that one, and I focus it in this area heavily. So take a pore filling primer because it reduces fine lines and wrinkles, the appearance of them, put it in that area as well. Then go on with your normal makeup. When it comes time to use your powder or set your makeup, make sure you tap out all the creases before you set. Okay, take your powder, dip it in there, go like this. And let it bake. Put a generous amount of powder in that area and leave it on for 1 to 2 minutes. I promise you, you will not have creased smile lines throughout the day. Next quick tip. This one might be common sense, but I do it all the time still, and I need to take my own advice. Bake your face before you fill in your brows, because have you ever done your makeup and you look at your brows in the mirror and you're like, what the hell, why are they white? Yes, because all the powders are flying in there. So all that time you just took stenciling out your brows, filling them in, is ruined because you just put powder on top of it without even realizing. I'm so guilty of it. I always fill in my eyebrows first, but we need to get in the habit of filling them in last because they look so much more elevated, and those little things can make your makeup look so much more pro, if you will. Because when you can see the powder in there, trust me, you don't want that. Another tip that might be kind of common sense, but to me, I think it's a great one. I always say to set your face with setting spray before mascara. There's been so many times where throughout the day, I'm wondering why my mascara that I love so much is kind of flaking or running down on my face. And I've realized that every time I set my face when I have mascara on already, or even lashes, they'll either lift or my mascara will flake and run. So tip is to spray your face before you do any mascara of any sort, especially for the lower lashes. When you're gonna go ahead and spray it, it's gonna kind of loosen up, that formula, and it might run, it might flake, it might drip. So set it before you do mascara. Tip number 4, priming your face is so important. I cannot stress this enough, that your makeup will only look as good as what's underneath. You guys, I say this so many freaking times, but it's so important to find the right primer that fits for you. You might not believe in primers, but I'm a strong believer of primers, and I feel as if they elevate your makeup look to look absolutely flawless. The foundation should not settle into fine lines and wrinkles, and that's because either you need a pore filling primer, so you need to look at your skin and see, what do I need? Look in the mirror and say, what can I use to perfect my makeup even more? For me, I have pores. You might not be able to tell in the camera because of lighting and stuff, but I hate my pores. So when I don't use a pore filling primer, I literally feel like I see little dots of foundation breaking apart. So if you have dry skin, use a hydrating primer. If you have oily skin, use an oil control primer so your foundation doesn't get disgusting throughout the day. Do what's geared towards you. What might work for me might not work for you. For me, I have almost normal to dry skin, so I use a lot of like serums, oils, pore filling primers, stuff like that, and I put them in the areas that I need. So the way you prime and prep your face for the makeup will determine the outcome of your makeup. If you go on dry skin right with your makeup, I promise you it's not going to look as nice as if you prepped it for the right skin type that you have. Tip number 5, and this is one of my favorites. I'm probably going to say that about so many, but it's a concealer hack. I forgot where I learned this from. It might have been Makeup by Mario. It was an influencer that actually I learned from as well. To let your concealer get tacky before you blend it out. So let's say right now we're going to go put my concealer on, right? I'm going to tap it on under my eyes. Oh my God, the sun is beaming in. Okay, I look like a ghost. I'm going to tap the concealer under my eyes and put it in the areas that I desire. I'm going to move on and do something else. Normally I'll cream contour while I let it get tacky, because the tackier your concealer will get, the more full coverage it will be. So if I were to go put it on right now and blend it out fast, it will kind of pick up the coverage. But if you kind of let it sit, not for too long, because you don't want it to dry on your skin and, you know, not blend, you want to let it set for the right amount of time. I'll let it set for about a minute or two, and then I will go blend it out. Typically, the concealers that I do use are not drying anyways, so they will have wiggle room. You don't want a concealer that's gonna instantly dry on when you like apply it onto your face. So that's a really good tip and trick. And another tip, this is tip number 6, you're gonna wanna take your beauty blender, and when you blend it out, you want to press as light as possible. You don't wanna hit it so hard, or else you're gonna pick up all the coverage and it's gonna soak into the sponge. That even goes for foundation. The harder you press on your foundation or on your sponge, the more coverage that it's going to pick up. And the lighter you tap, the fuller coverage you will get. So again, the harder you tap, the less full coverage. The lighter you tap, the more full coverage. Always remember that, and that goes for concealer, foundation, whatever it may be. Even when you're setting it with your damp beauty sponge with some powder, if you stamp it too hard, it could pick up that product underneath. So always remember to just go light. It may look like I'm going hard with it, but I'm just going fast. So just remember, the lighter taps, the more full coverage. And if you want a lighter coverage, that's okay. You could press a little harder. Okay, tip number 7, where you place your hand on a brush. I'm sure you have heard this plenty of times, but the placement of your hand on a brush matters. So the further you hold it, the more sheer and blended it will be. If you hold it more so in the center, you will have a little more control over your brush, and it'll give it a little more pigment and more coverage. The closer you have it, it will be more harsh, not blended, but it will be the fullest coverage. So it just depends on the look you're going for. If you want a really blended look, hold it at the end. If you just need a little more control but you need some more coverage, you can just hold it in the middle. So again, if you hold it at the end of the brush, you will get a lighter coverage with a better blend. If you hold it in the middle, it'll be a heavier coverage and less of a blend, but it'll still blend. But if you hold it all the way up here, it'll be a very harsh, full coverage, but it's good for when you're trying to pack on that color. So it just depends on what you're doing in the moment. But when you are blending, make sure to hold your brush at the end so you have less control, and that's how you get a seamless blend. And that even goes for face brushes. If you're holding your brush like this, it's gonna disturb the base underneath. If you're holding it more back here and it's more like soft, you will get more of that softer blown out effect. So face and eye brushes, this trick works for. I actually get this question a lot, and I get so excited when I do. This is tip number 8, and is how to get that beaming glow, and that is with a setting spray, my friend. You're gonna want to set your face before you go ahead in with your highlighter. When your face is a little bit damp, your highlighter will be beaming. Do you see this highlighter, by the way, today? Ugh, it's so amazing. Another way you can get your highlighter to pop is by using a cream highlighter underneath, but sometimes it breaks up your foundation, so I would just stick to this tip. Spray your face, and then go ahead when you take your highlighter brush, just go like this. Don't rub because your face is still wet, so you want to kind of just tap it on and you will get that beaming highlight effect. I think I'm on number 9. Number 9, this is a hair tip actually. Number 9, you guys, when you wash your hair, do not wash out the product right away. Nowadays, we use texturizing sprays, you use hairspray. Anything that you're putting in your hair needs to come out when you wash it. You don't want that buildup in there, right? So you're gonna wanna leave your shampoo in, scrub your hair, you know, but let it sit in for 1 to 2 minutes. So the way I technically like to wash my hair is the first wash, I will really go in and scrub. Okay, I'll wash it out. But then the second scrub, I always wash my hair 2 to 3 times, 2 for sure. I will go ahead and let it get all sudsy, you know, and I'll massage it into my scalp. But I will let my shampoo sit for 1 to 2 minutes so that soap can sit on top of my head and actually clean out and clean my hair. Have you ever got out of the shower and you're like, my hair still looks dirty? That's probably why. So try letting your product sit for 1 to 2 minutes in your hair so it can really, you know, strip out all that dirt, all that oil, and whatever products that are stuck in there. And same goes for conditioner. I'll leave this tip in one. Let your conditioner sit in your hair for about 1 to 2 minutes as well, because if you're gonna just go ahead, put your conditioner in and rinse it out, your hair is not gonna be silky smooth. It's just gonna be on the top layer. You want it to really absorb into your hair and just moisturize it. It's like getting a drink of water for your hair. So allow your shampoos and conditioners to sit for 1 to 2 minutes before washing it out. Tip number 9 actually is do not wash your conditioner out after you wash your body. So if you wash your body, then wash your conditioner out. If you ever notice you get like back acne or little bumps everywhere, even on your legs, it's because you're washing out your conditioner after you washed your body. So that product is sitting on your skin without you even knowing or feeling it. So always wash your body after you wash out your conditioner. So if that means you have to wash it twice, I would just do another extra rinse to get that conditioner product off your body, because nobody wants back acne or anything acne anywhere on the body. So okay, I lost my spot, but I think I'm on number 11. Sorry if I'm wrong, I will correct it, whatever. I think I'm on number 11. This is a hair tip as well, and my hair tip to you is to use dry shampoo when your hair is clean. Yes, when your hair is clean, to prevent it from getting dirty and getting oil built up. So for example, right now, I just showered last night. Tonight, I'm gonna put in dry shampoo and massage it in, and that will give me a few extra days before I have to wash it, because I will put dry shampoo in again tomorrow. That's a quick, easy tip and trick. Okay, tip number 12. Do you guys ever use your fingers to put on shimmer eyeshadows? Because I always use my fingers too. I know I have long nails, it's kind of hard to, but I still like to pack that glitter onto my lid with my fingers because it gives the best payoff. But if you've ever noticed, let's say you're putting on, you know, you're taking your shadow and you're putting it on your lid. This is such a dumb trick, but it works. You know how you go to, you know, put it on this eye and you're like struggling? When you're doing your left eye, use your left finger. When you're doing your right eye, use your right finger. It'll be in the exact same placement. But if you use the opposite hand for the opposite eye, it's not going to be an even eyeshadow application. It's going to be off because your placement is off. So again, if you tap it on the same way with the same side, it will be perfect. Tip number 13, how to make your nose look even smaller even after contour. And that means taking a small pointer brush and taking a highlighter, a small little brush like this, right? Get your highlighter on it. You're gonna wanna take it on the very top bridge of your nose and get it in the exact dead center. You see that? And then you're gonna wanna take it on the tip of your nose, kind of blend it out so it's not like a perfect circle, and your nose will look so skinny in the middle. This is after you do your nose contour. You could do it even without nose contour, but when you do the whole, you know, nose contour thing, bake the sides, this little trick will make your nose look super tiny. I'm not saying to take it all the way down and connect it. I'm literally saying to take it on the bridge and on the tip. Tip number 14, when you're setting your face with a translucent powder, a setting powder of any sort, even if it's a pressed powder, you're gonna go in, right? You're gonna set it. Before you go in with your next product, aka bronzer, whatever it may be, you're gonna wanna feel around on your face. If you still feel that tackiness, you did not set it everywhere, and therefore your bronzer will be choppy in the area that the powder did not get picked up on. So right now, I'm setting it with translucent powder, let's say, right? And then I'm gonna go ahead and feel around my face to see if it's tacky. Like right here, I could feel a little tackiness. My bronzer would be patchy over there. right? So then you want to go ahead and set in that area even further before you go in with your next step, and that's how you'll know your face is set completely and ready to go for the next step. When you're going to go ahead in with your next step, like I said, you're going to feel around your face, right? This is tip number 15. What I still do, even if I don't feel any tackiness, I will go in with my first layer of bronzer by tapping it into the skin versus rubbing it, because you can disturb the base underneath so easily and it can ruin all the work you just did previously. So go ahead and tap in your bronzer for the first layer to ensure it's set again. And then with your second layer of bronzer, you can go ahead and start doing, these motions, like the back and forth. But my first initial, I usually like to tap it in all over. And then when I feel like it's really, really set with powder, you will be able to go back and forth. Tip number 16 is to set your face multiple times throughout your makeup application. I set it 3 times, okay? The first time, when I do my foundation, right? I do my foundation, concealer, blah, blah, blah. Then I set it with powder. After I set it with powder, I spray my face with a setting spray, right? Then I take a beauty blender and I go everywhere and just push that product into the skin. I push the setting spray into the skin because then I don't look cakey. The sponge picks up all the excess powder that does not need to be on the skin, right? Then I'll go in with my bronzer, my blush, my highlighter. Actually, I'm sorry, I'll go in with my bronzer and my blush. I'll set again. I will do the same thing. I will tap around my face, but I will leave this area damp, right? So this is after bronzer and blush. I will set again. Then I will go in with my highlight while it's still damp to get that popped effect. That was one of my tips before. And then at the very, very end of my makeup before mascara and lashes, I will go in with a dewy setting spray because I like the dew, so it doesn't matter. But either way, I always set my face maybe 3 to 4 times during my makeup application. And that way you will ensure that as many powders as you're using, they will not look cakey. It will look so skin-like. Right now, I have tons and tons of powders on my face, but you can't even tell that it looks cakey because it's not cakey. I did it in the right way, and I got the sponge to pick up the excess product that didn't need to be layered on the skin. Tip number 17, it has to do with highlighter as well. You don't want to put highlighter on textured areas, and what that means is if you have really bad breakout or bad texture in that area, don't put a glow on top of it because a highlighter will enhance that texture and actually make it look worse. So sometimes makeup can enhance things in the worst way. And I feel like highlighter, if you put it on top of texture, it might look worse. Right now I have a lot of little bumps under my skin. You might not be able to see it, but I can. And if I usually like to put a little glowy product on top of my face after my makeup, and today I didn't because I feel like I'm so broken out that I would have made it look worse. So always try to avoid those areas if you have texture with highlighter. Tip number 18, if you want a dewy makeup look, you do not have to have a dewy foundation, a dewy primer, a dewy this, a dewy that. You can use all matte products, but still put the dewiness in the correct spots. So yeah, dewy face does not mean all dewy products, but the way I like to do it is I like to make my base underneath the makeup dewy. So that means I'll do my normal skincare routine, which involves a few oils. I will do a radiant serum because I feel like it glows through. The LC oil is really good. The C Radiance by Monet is amazing. If you guys want that, DM me. I've talked about it so many times on my story. So I will do that. I will do the Tatcha, this one. I will do the Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream. Oh my God, this will give you the dew. And then I also like to use, it's not around me right now, but I use the Nymph by Huda Beauty as my primer. So I will make my primers be radiant, and then my foundation is matte, my concealer is matte. I will do my powders are matte. I will matte out my whole face, and then I will bring the dewiness back with certain products, and that means highlighter. I will glow up the inner corners, the center of my nose, my face, my chest. So you can be dewy, but also have your makeup last a really long time. So that's why I like the balance of the two. Because if I were to use all dewy products, first of all, I feel like it creases. And second, I feel like it doesn't last on me all day, even though I have dry skin. And then tip number 19, I love this one. I actually learned this from Makeup by Mario. Take your eyeshadow brush, dip it into your color. You know how you tap out the excess? Don't do that anymore. I stopped doing that. I always tap it on the back of my hand, and then I will go in on my client or on myself, and you will realize there's zero fallout. the pigment is still on the brush, because when you tap it out sometimes too much, I feel like the color just falls right off the brush. But when you're like tapping it in, it's also tapping it into the brush and allowing that payoff with no fallout. Try it. Trust me, you will love it. And then also sometimes I won't even dip back into the shade. I'll just swirl it back on my hand because there's still product there, and it'll give you such a seamless blend. Trust me, tap all your brushes on your hand before you go in with the actual product initially on your face. Zero fallout. Tip number 20 to make your false lashes actually blend with your real lashes is to put mascara on first. You could do it after, but it won't, number one, it won't blend as good, and number two, you're gonna ruin your lashes if they're reusable. So what you're gonna do is take your normal mascara, whatever you want, coat one layer of mascara just to blacken up those lashes. When you're doing your powders and your, contour and whatever, powder tends to fly into your real lashes. So when you're gonna go ahead and put fake lashes on, you're gonna see those fake lashes are so black and your real lashes are not blending with it because there's all powder throughout. And then you're gonna go ahead and put so much mascara, it's gonna get clumpy. So just to avoid all of that, put your mascara on first before you go in with your falsies. And then what to do when you want to blend your falsies even further, so one layer on your regular lashes, take your mascara. I like to take my skinny end of my Huda Beauty mascara. I'm going to get a mirror. And the way to blend it without ruining your false lashes for the next wear, you're going to want to blend it upward like this. If your lashes are ever poking you in the inner corner, hold your mascara wand up like this and push up and out of the way, and I promise your lash will lift up, and also you're blending and blackening up your real lashes even further without damaging the false lashes, and you will be able to wear them plenty of times. I think this is tip number 20. I'm sorry if my numbers were off. I feel like I'm forgetting which one I went because I kind of went out of order on my list. This is for under eyes. If your under eyes crease throughout the day, like you get those little wrinkles, you're going to want to take your beauty blender that you did your makeup with. My shirt was falling. You're going to want to take your beauty blender that you did your makeup with. You're going to want to set it with setting spray or spray it with setting spray. Kind of, work that setting spray into the sponge. Mine aren't creased because I just did my makeup, but I'm still just going to show you. You're going to want to pat out the creases really thoroughly, but very lightly. Don't dab too hard. And then you're going to want to reset it with powder. So let's see, I was going to go ahead and reset it with some powder. And you're not going to want to bake it or anything, just, kind of set it lightly again, and you will not have any more creases under your eyes. So that'll be a little trick. That's more of a touch-up trick. So if you ever need to touch up your makeup, take your sponge and a mini setting spray. Take a travel size one. The Mario Badescu is great to throw in your purse. Dampen this up a little bit, spray it, and put a little extra powder. And if you really want to, you can actually take a little dot of concealer and add it on top, but I don't recommend to because sometimes it doesn't, obviously you're not supposed to put liquid on top of a powder, so sometimes it might not mix well, but if you're desperate, you could put extra, but sometimes it might crease more. So I prefer just to, dampen up your sponge, tap out the creases, then set it again. Tip number 21, last tip, is to not put your foundation under your eyes at all. This also goes with the last step. Your under eyes should not crease throughout the day if you're setting with powder, because if you're putting your foundation under your eyes, then your concealer under your eyes, then a powder under your eyes, it's gonna crease up because there's so much going on under there, and it's such fine tissue. You already have fine lines under there. It's such a thin layer. It's going to crease throughout the day. So whenever you do your foundation, stop it right about here, and then just let your concealer do its thing under your eye. So that's pretty much it. Your concealer should not crease, and if it does, you got that trick with the setting spray and the sponge. And here's an extra little tip before I close out this video. If you ever want to make your lips look a little bit extra pouty and more plump and juicy, put the gloss in the center of your lips. Today I put it all over my lips because that was just my mood, but if you want, where's my gloss? If you want to make your lips look more of that pouty effect, take your gloss and just focus it on the center, and then you also want to focus it on this top edge right over here, and leave the rest matte. But like I said today, I didn't even take my own advice. I just put it all over because I just felt like it. But if you want to make your lips look a little extra pouty, only focus your gloss in the very center and leave the rest matte. It'll give it that more cute pouty effect, and your top lip will look larger as well. You can also contour your lips. I have a video on that on my IGTV if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. But that is pretty much it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If this helped you, comment down below and let me know. And that is it, you guys. I will see you guys all in my next video. Mwah. Bye, guys.